Okay, now Jay, switching back to our favorite topic, hockey. So the rookie Schaefer has been getting a ton of press, but maybe instead of talking about him today, let's talk about a couple other guys who have got their own press, just a ton of press when they came up, and now are developing into good young players. Bedard and Celebrini. I believe that Bedard is older, so why don't you give the listeners sort of quick background as to Bedard and how he's been doing in the league?
Well, I mean, Connor Bedard and Matthew Celebrini are they're the last two first round picks. So Schaefer was the first round pick this last year. Celebrini was the year before, and Bedard the year before. And I mean, I know Bedard's and we're interested out here on the coast because they're both North Vancouver kids. So the same way that you guys get excited about Connor McDavid signing in Toronto, there are lots of folks in Vancouver who are biding their time waiting for these guys to become free agents and of course come home and sign in Vancouver. But well, Bedard's well, he was fantastic final year in the CHL playing with Regina, CHL Player of the Year. Um, ends up going to Chicago first overall, sort of made lots of people super happy that Chicago won the draft lottery rights to get him. Um, and he's been very good. I mean, he wins the Calder Trophy in the first year, 61 points in 68 games. Um, Great season. Next last year, I know people talked about a sophomore slump. He still had 67 points in 82 games. I think if you're getting 67 points out of your I know Vancouver would love to be getting 67 points out of their top line center this year, but don't know if that's going to happen. But
Right. And his team was not very good either.
well, no, and that's, I mean, we'll sort of do the comparison of his line mates to Celebrini's line mates. But I mean, this year he's and he was a big minus the first, he was minus 44 his rookie year, and he was minus 36 last year. I mean, he's got, as of yesterday, he had 15 points in 12 games, and he's a plus six. So some of that maybe is chalked up to maybe having a little bit better line mates. Maybe the team is a little bit better. But I mean, that's a pretty remarkable jump to go from going from being a minus 44, minus 36 to all of a sudden being a plus player. And I know people got issues with plus minus as a stat, but it seems to point towards him being a little bit more defensively responsible.
Right.
And I mean, that was one of the things that I think people were pointing out the last couple of years is, again, like, he's playing on a weaker team. They're not defensively responsible. Um, they were one of the worst teams in the league the last 2 years. So that's a tough situation to drop a kid like that into. And I mean, he was also, I mean, he was so hyped, and he's basically being presented as the new face of the league. I mean, there's not lots of rookies come in and are starting to get like national TV commercials and getting blasted all over the place, and the American stations are all like, every time they could, they had a Chicago game on. Whether Chicago was going to be good or competitive, it was a chance for them to sort of flash Bedard
Right.
uh, all
So
over the.
so tons of pressure.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than Celebrini. I mean, Celebrini came in, he was hyped up as well. I know. I mean, he might not have had the same hype as Bedard. He wasn't maybe not viewed as the same level of prospect, but I mean, he was the clear-cut number one pick. I mean, he was the wins the Hobie Baker for best player in college hockey as a freshman. Uh, that does not happen very often. And so he went in as young. I think he was 17 playing in college. So he's playing against men. I mean, that's one of the differences between the college route and going the CHL route. Like, CHL guys tap out at 20 in
Yes.
terms of, they're top out at 20 in terms of age, where in college you may be playing against guys that are definitely a little bit more physically mature. 20 could be 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
So Celebrini excelled there, and he had a fantastic rookie season. Now, he didn't win the Calder, and I think he ended up losing that out to Lane Hudson, who had a fantastic year. I know you're a big Lane Hudson fan, but I mean,
5'9" NHL defenseman. I tell you, you can't have more than one of them.
yeah. Well, Bedard's not much bigger than 5'9" either. So, but Celebrini, I mean, he had 63 points in 70 games in his rookie year. He was also a minus 31. So comparable, I mean, you're comparing him to sort of Bedard in their rookie years. Like Bedard was 61 in 68 games. Celebrini is 63 and 70. They both had pretty big minus numbers. But Celebrini's like he's off to a fantastic start. He's got 18 points in 13 games this year. He's a plus two. So like just comparing the two this year, they're both like above a point a game average. They're sort of becoming leaders on their teams if they're not already the leader of the team, and they're both plus players this year.
Right.
So, and I know I was just mentioning to you, like that's, I mean, when you're kind of looking to sort of determine which of these two guys is the better player. I mean, we just should be enjoying the fact that they're both two extremely talented players, and we keep talking about like I know we don't keep talking about, but generational talent is a word that keeps getting thrown out, and it's
Yeah.
like when Bedard came out, he was getting hyped like he was the next McDavid, and there probably hadn't been hype about a prospect like him since McDavid. And now you got Celebrini, who like on the surface looks like he's as good, maybe better than Bedard. And then you got Matthew Schaefer. Then we got Gavin McKenna sitting there waiting at Penn State University to be the first pick overall this coming year. I mean, are we going to have if you start having generational talents every year, then they're not really generational. We just have who's the best player every year. But these guys all seem to be amazing. I mean, the the stat that I was curious about was I was kind of looking if you're splitting hairs, like, hey, who's getting more ice time? And I looked at Bedard's rookie year and Celebrini's rookie year, and they both averaged like 19 minutes and 47 seconds a game. And then this year, they're both averaging 21 minutes and 8 seconds a game. So their coaches are playing them the exact same amount of time in the rookie seasons and then the current season. Now Bedard's got the second season there, and his ice time stepped up and his points stepped up as well. But I mean, right now they both seem to be like comparable. They're different types of players. Like Bedard's probably a little bit more offensive. I mean, they're both fantastic offensively, but I mean, I think Bedard, even when Bedard was coming into the league, like it was like NHL players were kind of saying like when he gets to the league, he's going to have one of the best shots in the NHL, like from day one.
Well, on the Canadian junior national team, I mean, he really showed off in that tournament, didn't he? And with
Oh yeah,
the quick shot, and it was just remarkable what he was doing.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
it was. Well, I think he had 17 points in that tournament. He ended up. I mean, he was the most valuable player. They ended up winning the gold medal. No, he was fantastic. I mean, he was heads and tails the best player in that tournament.
right, right.
And again, but then that shows you he's head and tails in that tournament. Then he steps into the league, and he's still one of the bright young stars, but he's not necessarily dominating the way that people thought that he might.
Right. Right.
But I mean, I think when McDavid got into the league, he was again a phenomenal talent, but he wasn't dominating right away. I mean, I think he got hurt the first year too, so he got driven into the boards by
Yeah.
a Philadelphia defenseman, and that's cost him the Calder Trophy. Probably. I mean, it's interesting that
And
Bedard
didn't
won the
have
trophy.
surgery. He didn't have surgery. Like he somehow came back and everybody thought, "Oh, poor kid." I mean, and he stepped in and October started the next season and he was flying. It was just incredible. It was like a glimpse of his superhuman willpower on display.
You figure if you keep throwing out plaudits for McDavid, he's going to sign in Toronto, right? Is that
He's got to. He comes from Toronto. Did you know that? He
yeah,
comes from
yeah. I've
Toronto.
I've I've heard that.
His parents are still in Toronto. His brother's in Toronto. And so he comes back to Toronto every summer to train with Gary Roberts and other people. Like his setup is here. His heart is here. His wife is from Sudbury, which is really just a suburb of Toronto. So it's set up so that for him it's
Yeah.
plug and play. And also, I think
Well,
because he
is
grew up here, he realizes that, hey, what do you want? You want your name on every single elementary school and high school? Done. Would you like most streets named after you? McDavid, First Avenue, Second Avenue, and Third Avenue? Done. City Hall. So I mean, it's all here. Connor, come back home. I mean, we're waiting for you. You're doing amazing things. The whole league loves you, but just come back home. It's time.
this is a fantastic segment on Bedard and Celebrini.
Now, I did wait. I did wait for the proper moment to sort of plug that in, right? So,
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, if we're going to keep referencing McDavid, I mean, the nice thing about Celebrini and Bedard is they're both Canadians. So when it comes time to future Olympics, Connor McDavid's going to have a couple running mates who can hopefully share the spotlight with him. Now they're all centers, but I'm pretty sure they could all figure out how to play together if they were on the same ice. I think they're all talented enough to do that.
now, did you say that both Bedard and Celebrini come from North Van?
Well, Celebrini originally was. I think Celebrini's dad actually ended up. He's a well, I think it's a physiotherapist, or he's in the
Okay,
sort of health. I mean,
because
he
that's
ended
very
up being.
specific. North Van. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's yeah. They're both originally from North Vancouver, but Celebrini now lives. His I think his dad is with um one of the basketball teams. Might be the Warriors. Uh, but he was when he grew up as a young player, he used to play for the junior Sharks. Like that's why it was kind of serendipitous that the Sharks ended up getting the first overall pick and they were able to draft him and bring him home from similar to like your Johnny Tavares pajama boy wearing his pajamas and be able to come home to Toronto. Celebrini was a young Shark, so there'd be lots of images of him in uh, young Shark and young Shark paraphernalia. Now he's a big boy Shark.
Right. Oh, so Celebrini and Bedard, the Olympic team. Do you want to maybe give us your
Well,
thoughts on
and I
that?
know,
Are
I
they
mean,
both on?
there's preliminary sort of chatter about whether one of them will get on. I mean, everyone's looking at the Four Nations team, and I mean, neither one of them were on that squad. And I mean, defending champions, Four Nations Cup, probably. I mean, Hockey Canada is sort of known for its loyalty to guys. Are they going to bring back the band and give them another run at it, or are they going to bring along one of the young guys, or maybe even both of them? Like they're both sort of top 30 in NHL score. I think they're even high. I mean, like where we're at like 18 and 15 points.
Right.
Like they're certainly in the top 30, probably top 20 of NHL scoring.
Would they both
And
play the wing?
well, I mean, Canada's so deep at center. I mean, like you got McDavid, you got Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
Like there's those two guys. I think a guy named Sidney Crosby also plays center.
Right. He does.
So
Yeah.
do they end up moving McKinnon to wing? But where would these young guys slot in? And if they're not in their natural position, do you bring them along? I mean, can't I mean like Mark Scheifele is having a fantastic year. Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna like sort of leave him off the roster and bring along a Celebrini or Bedard? Um,
Right. But
they'll
those
be a
are
bit of
both of them. Those are
they're gonna
really
have
hot
their future
starts.
days.
Those are hot
Oh
starts.
yeah.
I mean, you can't ignore the fact that on subpar teams, I mean, if they're really tearing it up, that's great.
Well, and again, and they're both. I mean, some of the discussion that I'd heard about whether they're going to be able to make the Olympic team is, well, they're not going to be in a first or second line role when they're playing, so they're going to have to be defensively responsible. And are they able to show that? I mean, I think early returns this year are they're showing that they have some defensive responsibility to their game. And if they're able to do that, do you bring them along again? But they're playing center, like going to the point, like do you move those guys to the wing? Like how are they? I mean, you have to be more defensively responsible to play center. So you presume that if you slot them on the wing, there'd be less concern about a defensive lapse by
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Are they
So,
big enough to play wing though?
well, in the open ice, because it's going to be in the European ice, because the Olympics are in Torino, right, or
Right.
Milano. So that's
But the team you're setting up for is the US. I mean, that's the team. That's so everything you're doing is to counterpunch the US.
yeah. And these guys, I mean, again, they're playing against like who are the American players that they're going to be going up against that they're going to match up. So it's like if Bedard was playing the wing, I mean, how does he match up against Matthew Boldy? He sees Matthew Boldy in Minnesota like 5 times a year.
Right.
I don't know who the other American guys are they going to be bringing along. I mean, like Matthew Kachuk's going to probably be back. Brady Kachuk's injured right now. They'll both be back. There's bigger bodies. Are they going
Right.
to be able to sort of handle themselves against those guys. I don't see why they couldn't.
Right.
But the question is like who's going to get left off? Or again, if they're going to bring just one of them along, who are they going to bring along? I mean, the discussion is, I mean, Celebrini's better at faceoffs. Celebrini's sort of the eye test is he's got a better defensive game now. He's more mature defensively than Bedard is. But again, Bedard hasn't been asked in Chicago necessarily to play a defensive role. They're wanting him to be the offensive sort of guy. I mean, your guy there in Toronto, when Austin Matthews first came up, nobody sort of thought of him as a defensive genius, and now he keeps getting Selke votes.
Right.
I don't,
Right.
I don't, I don't know how, but I mean, everyone seems to say that. I mean, his defensive game has evolved, and
Yeah.
he's now he's a regular top 10 Selke guy.
Yeah. No, Austin Matthews is the complete package. 6'3", 220 pounds, pure steel. He disappears in the playoffs, but other than that, he's just amazing when it comes to the regular season. So yeah, no, we're very happy with him for the most part. But okay, so how about this? Vancouver, despite everything you've said, Vancouver has the money to sign one of two free agents. Both these guys come up. They can't drop anyone. They've only got to choose Bedard or Celebrini. You've got 30 seconds to choose. Who do you choose and why?
Me, I would probably take Celebrini.
Why is that?
Hmm?
Why is that?
Well, again, the eye test is, I mean, he seems like he's more defensively responsible. I think he's also a little bit bigger than Bedard. I mean, that's Bedard plays with an edge. He's got some feist to him. Like I heard somebody sort of compare him the other day to like a shorter Nathan McKinnon in terms of having that kind of dog in his game. But that's again, like I don't necessarily like they're both phenomenal players. If you can get either one of them, it'd be fantastic.
Right.
Like I think for me right now, I would just say like I like what Celebrini's game uh, looks like.
Right.
Now,
S-
again, Celebrini's had the advantage of like he played most of last year with like a fellow rookie, Will Smith, who was again a fantastic college level player, and Tyler Toffoli. So you got a veteran winger who's scoring. I mean, Toffoli put up 30 goals last year playing with those two guys. So that's the quality of winger that or quality of players that he's sort of been lined up with. Like McDavid's now, not McDavid, Bedard's in his third season with Chicago, and I think his regular line mates this year have been like Ilya Mikheyev and Andrei Burakovsky.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, I don't think he's had the same level of talent. Like his rookie year was like they were kind of fumbling around trying to find the right line mates for him. I mean, I think he played most of the first year with like Foligno and Kurashev. Kurashev's now in San Jose. He started the year, I think, like with Hall and Donato, Tyler Johnson, like like decent veteran guys. I mean, Taylor Hall's best days are behind him. Um, but I mean, again, all decent guys, but are they the level of talent that Smith and Toffoli would be? And also just the consistency. Like Celebrini's been playing with the same guys. So he's building up chemistry with those guys. Bedard's been sort of moved around. And I think the expectation on Bedard is he's going to like raise everybody's game up. Um,
Right.
and maybe some of the negatives on him is it doesn't look like he has necessarily done that, but maybe he hasn't been given the right guys. And they got a couple young guys coming up, like Frank Nazar is there now, and he's might be pronounced Nazar, but he's he's the second line center for Chicago for the future, and he's looking like he could be a bright like take some of the heat off of Bedard in terms of offensive production. So that might be allowing Bedard to sort of maybe be given more defensive responsibilities or defensive zone faceoffs. Like, I mean, and Edmonton does this too with McDavid or Draisaitl. They'll throw the two of them out. Anytime there's a faceoff in another team's zone, they're going to throw McDavid and Draisaitl out.
Right.
So Chicago's doing the same thing. They're trying to give Bedard as many offensive uh, possibilities as possible or opportunities as possible. But to be the complete player that everybody then would say, hey, let's invite him to the Olympics, you got to throw him out in some defensive opportunities as well and see what he can do. That's the one stat that kind of stands out to sort of draws a differentiation between the two is like Celebrini's face-off percentage. Neither one of them are above 50%, but I think Celebrini's kind of in the 47, 48% in terms of face-offs. Bedard's sort of around 39%.
Right.
So if there's something to sort of draw between the two guys as to which guy would you want to have a wing on the wing in the Olympics who might have to go in and take a face-off if
Right.
somebody got tossed out,
Right.
Celebrini's a little bit better than Bedard.
Right. Right.
I mean, there'd be something to say for, hey, why don't you bring them both along?
Are we
Like,
talking Vancouver or
if
the
oh
national
no, we're
team?
talking about oh no, if we're talking Vancouver, yeah, you bring them both along. I know I'm just thinking the national team.
Right.
I mean, the national team is the question is just interesting because these guys are going to have future opportunities, assuming the NHL keeps going to the Olympics, where there'll be guys right now, again, like a Mark Scheifele who hasn't been, and he's been playing very well for the last 3 years, just became like uh, the new generation Winnipeg team's leading scorer.
Right.
And like this might be his last opportunity to get an Olympic shot. So do
Right.
you keep a Shifley off for Celebrini or Bedard to get that experience?
Right. Well, it is an embarrassment of riches, although the U.S. has certainly evened the scales on the first team. But, in iterations past, the Canadian team, the B team, like a full B team, traditionally would really challenge for possibly a bronze, right? Like they're just that good. Two
Yep.
solid lines, and then digging into the third line, still very good, sort of thing. So yeah, I hear what you say. It's a nice problem to have, and I guess a lot of it's going to come down to the three or four guys who are playing amazing come January when they finalize the team.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think they've got. When do the lineups have to be in by the end of December? The
December,
lists have to be in by the end of December, I think.
right?
I mean, there'll be guys then who are like, hey, if there's injuries, and I'm wondering if that's what the Hockey Canada might end up doing with Bedard and Celebrini is maybe they're not on the roster, but they'd be the if guys get hurt, these are the guys who are coming up. But if they both keep playing the way they're playing, like they're gonna have strong cases to be on the team.
Yeah,
And again, it may be like whoever's injured in December might make a space for some of these guys. I mean, a guy like in St. Louis, I think the because Doug Armstrong is the general manager for the Olympic team, and he's got a guy Rob Thomas who I think a
yeah,
lot of people are high on, saying, "Hey, they'd like to see him on the team." There's lots of good young Canadian players. Seth Jarvis in Carolina, like there's a good chance he's going to be on the team. He was on the Four Nations team, acquitted himself very well. Like, do they sit there and again go for the hyped up number one guys who are still super young and are playing well, or Jarvis is a little bit more established. He's had a couple good playoff runs with Carolina, played well, has some chemistry with some of the guys already.
yeah,
Brad Marchand, I mean, there's a guy with he's 37.
yes, yeah.
Um,
Still playing at a
he's
high level.
always played well in international play,
Right.
and he's got good chemistry with Sidney Crosby. Like, do
Yeah,
you
of course.
throw him out there?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. So
we'll see.
Celebrini on Vancouver's first line power play with Quinn Hughes. That would be a nice look.
Well, let's just hope they're able to re-sign Quinn Hughes. That if that's what your forecast is, yes, I would agree. Having Quinn
Right.
Hughes and Matthew Celebrini
Right.
uh, uh, on the uh, on the same power play would be a dream here in Vancouver. Mostly because it
So
would mean that Quinn Hughes has re-signed for a number of years.
so Quinn Hughes, I mean, he's so central to Vancouver. So is it July 1st, and if he doesn't sign, then July 3rd is full panic, and then you're going to New Jersey and you're trying to get what, four first round picks from them, five first round picks from?
Well, I think New Jersey would be that's the dilemma the Canucks have is I think that if Quinn Hughes doesn't sign in Vancouver, everyone's going to assume he's signing in New Jersey.
Of course.
So who is going to want to trade for Hughes? I think the it wouldn't be panic time, but if the Hughes camp hasn't kind of given an indication to Vancouver ownership that he would seriously consider re-signing here, and if the Canucks are not in a playoff position come February when the Olympics happen, I think the Olympic break they'll be looking to shop Quinn Hughes
Right, because they can
because,
get return. Yeah,
well, because the return then is you're not trading for one playoff run of Quinn Hughes, you're trading for two playoff runs of Quinn Hughes.
right.
So that opens it up for everybody who'd sit there and say, yeah, we might not be able to sign this guy, but imagine if we had Quinn Hughes for like if the window, imagine a team like Carolina who seems to need something to get them over the hump in the East. If they could get a Quinn Hughes to come in there. I mean, they've got a pretty nice defensive core as it is, but I mean, if you could add a guy like Quinn Hughes and win a Stanley Cup with him and rub it in the face of your one of your rivals, the New Jersey Devils,
Right.
um, why wouldn't you look at doing that? And what would you give up for that? And anybody who gets him is going to have the chance to re-sign him. Like there's there's no rule that
Wow.
there's no rule that says he has to go play with his brothers.
Sure, sure there is. But no, I love your actually I what you say makes a lot of sense because you could let Quinn Hughes pull a Mitch Marner and benefit New Jersey, or you're right, you could get a big return and then there's two playoff runs because Quinn Hughes as a rent-a-player for two playoff runs is worth quite a bit. I mean, because he can get you there.
Well, and you should be able to get a couple young pieces and some picks. I mean, like I'm trying to think, like, when would somebody of Quinn Hughes' caliber have been traded last? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I mean, is it Rantanen last
Right,
year? I
right.
mean, Rantanen was traded twice, and now like people slammed Colorado for the return they got for Rantanen from Carolina, and Neshkash is now looking like he can be a running mate for McKinnon for the next
Yeah,
5+ years, and they're going to end up paying him. Probably they're going to end up paying Ranton, and that's what's going to end up biting Colorado. Is people
yeah.
are going to look and say you could have had Ranton in for what you're now going to have to pay Neshkash because Neshkash is lighting it up playing with McKinnon.
Right, right. Yeah,
And then what did I mean? Carolina didn't do badly either in their return from when they had to flip Randon because Randon wasn't going to sign there. I mean, they got
right.
Logan Stankoven, who's been playing very well, played well in the playoffs for them last year.
Yeah,
And they're set up. I mean, Carolina, and we were talking about Seth Jarvis. I mean, Seth Jarvis, Logan Stankoven, Aho is still young. I mean, they could probably use like another center, but I think every team in the not every team in the league, but half the team in the league. I know we obsess about it here in Vancouver because we've got Pedersen as our number 1C, and some people would argue he's even that.
yeah.
And we were looking for a number 2C in the off season, and it's like, well, so is half the league.
So, but I like what you're saying because, and I absolutely agree with you. But I think the smart play is that Quinn Hughes is a 90-day decision. He's a 100-day decision, and there's no way they're going to pull the trigger. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and there's just no way they're going to do it. And then by not doing it, they're going to get to July 2nd, July 10th, August 1st, and then they're going to be screwed. And then New Jersey can really hardball them. Now the good thing though is that with New Jersey really hardballing them, you probably still get three first round picks for the guy, two first round picks. Like, I mean, like, why, if you're New Jersey, why would you screw around? Why wouldn't you just get it done?
Well, I mean, if he's going to get traded, then like if I was New Jersey, I'd be sitting there going, yeah, like let's guarantee ourselves. We don't want him going someplace else and going, hey, this is pretty good. This is a pretty decent life. Like, I
Right.
mean, does Vegas step forward? I'm joking, but I mean, or I mean, again, like there's a team like Florida with if they put Barkov's
Yes,
money
yes,
on
yes.
LTIR and
Right. You
they
don't
went to
screw
him
around.
and said, well, and I mean, Hughes is still under contract for like next year as well. So a team like Florida could go out and get him this year, have him the following year as well, and they just have to figure out what they're going to do with their salary cap. I mean, Bobrovsky's $10 million has got to be coming off the books at some point here,
Right.
um, or they just put. I mean, if they again like I'm looking at
So
Florida because they're gonna have a bunch of LTIR money to play around with, right?
I'm gonna jump in because we only have a minute
Yep.
and but anyways, there's no way your management is going to do this. They allowed the JT and Elias matter to play out in full view of us, and they made their decision. But there's no way your management has the Goombas to pull the trigger in January of this year in 90 days. It makes a
It
lot of
wouldn't it
sense, and
would,
I
wouldn't
agree
be
with you.
wouldn't be I don't think it would be January. It'd be February
Okay.
Over the Olympic break.
So 120 days. You think that matters? 120 days. I
If
agree
no
with you though.
if no if but if the Canucks are out of it, I
Yes,
mean we
I
don't
agree.
know what
I
we don't
agree.
know but no we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So like we can sit there and say they're not going to do that, but if Quinn Hughes representation is basically saying we're going to free agency, do you let that guy walk and not get anything back if you're not making the playoffs this year?
Right.
If
Yeah.
by the Olympic breaks, the Canucks should know whether they're in the playoffs or not. They should know whether or not Hughes is open to re-signing here. I mean, the Canucks in the offseason re-signed Demko, Besser, Garland, his three best buddies. They're all Americans. Like they've done everything they can to say, Quinn, we would like you to stay. Why don't you play with your friends? Don't you like your friends better than your brothers? So
Yeah, no, you're spitting facts. I mean, Vancouver management has to watch this podcast. They have to listen to you. They got to get you in. They
yeah,
got to get
no,
you in, and they got to go.
they don't have to.
No, no, they do. I mean, they just say, "Please, Jay, set it out for us," and then go through your list and go through the
Yeah.
check marks. But you're right. They do have to be very proactive. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise they're going to get a good return from New Jersey, but it's not going to be as good as February. Not even close.
Well, I think they just have a chance if they're going to maximize their return on Hughes if they're trading him. I think it's at this trade deadline.
I agree.
There,
Two runs.
it's gonna go down progressively as you get closer to if he's not signed by the next like if he's still with Vancouver and he's not signed by the next trade deadline, that's when you're going to sort of see somebody getting him for like a first and a prospect. Because at that point, it's like, well, we know we're not re-signing him, so we're just going to get what we can. So
Right.
if they're going to move him, this time to move him is going to be the Olympic break this year.
It all makes sense to me. I just
Yeah.
don't understand why they don't pick up the phone and call you. That's awesome.
Well, the reason I like talking with you, Greg, is you're good for my ego.
Okay. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Okay,
I'll talk to you
awesome.
soon.
Sounds good. Bye, man.
Bye.